Okay, good evening. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands where we meet today, the Ohlone, Coast Miwok, and Bay Miwok people, and recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. Good evening and welcome everyone. This is a very exciting night for the Bay Area chapter. We have quite a big night, ton of information to share, but more than that, a ton of great new members and some folks who've been really active in the chapter, all wanting to kind of meet and greet and get to know each other. I'm Deborah Nucky. I'm one of the co-chairs and I trained in Los Angeles in 2018, which was only 2 years ago, but feels like forever. I will hand over to Antonina.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the chapter. It's an understatement to say we're thrilled that there are so many people joining the chapter and so many people that took the virtual training, and we just want to welcome you, and we really want to make it abundantly clear to you that we really want you to participate, reach out to us, and become active members of the chapter. I'm Antonina Markoff. I also trained in Los Angeles in 2018, and I am a native of the Bay Area, and that makes it all the more exciting to have all of you here. So our chapter formed in 2015, and you'll hear later from Wei Tai, who many of you may have already seen. There he is waving. He and Steve Richard were the founders, and Wei Tai will describe that. And we now, with all of you joining, have close to 1,000 members. I want to, and we want to really underscore that as a chapter and as Climate Reality, we really believe in diversity and equity and inclusion and climate justice. And I just want to read these words because they're important. And so, in alignment with the National Climate Reality Project, at this chapter, we are committed to building a more just and equitable world, one where all voices are heard and respected, regardless of race, religion, color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, age, or physical ability. We recognize that a diverse and inclusive movement is critical to solving the climate crisis, and that to build this winning coalition, we must ensure that all those who are directly impacted, particularly those who have been excluded in the past, are at the center of the movement for change. So our chapter unites the Bay Area, and we also are a chapter that supports our climate leaders in their own counties and communities by developing mutual support and understanding. Our chapter is about climate education, and it is about taking action and moving the needle. And I think we all know what needle that is. We're all volunteers. And for me, we're like a relay race team that always keeps running and working together. Some of us have to pass off the baton at certain times and then come back in. But that's what volunteers do. And that's what our community does. Deborah.
Great. And if we could get the agenda up, what we're aiming to do tonight in the first half is to really have a chance to introduce all of the new members, particularly those who have just completed global training, but even if you haven't, everyone who's new to the chapter, just to introduce you to the teams and the chapter itself, to show you the resources and help you learn where you can access things that you want, and highlight the different ways of getting involved when not meeting in person. So between now and 7:15, we will, when Antonina and I wrap up, we'll hand the baton to Wei Tai, who will give you some idea about what to do once training is finished. We'll then introduce you to all the current chapter chairs and currently active groups, as well as the policy action squads, which tend to happen on a county level. For those who did complete their training virtually, Taryn and Wei Tai will talk about the little green ring, and I was racing around tonight and couldn't find mine, but the little green ring that kind of unites and signifies the training that many of us have gone through. And then we will transition to an all chapter welcome with the help of our incredibly skilled and dedicated head of events, Amelia Jones. So I think there's another slide, Wei Tai, with a little about the makeup of the chapter. So when we say nearly 1,000 members, technically we're at about 984. So if you know 16 people that you can nudge, go nudge them. We're across 10 counties. These numbers are slightly recent, but basically a lot in San Francisco, Alameda, Contra Costa, but extending all the way up through Marin, Napa, Sonoma. I know there's one person on tonight who's calling in from Mendocino, and then to the East Bay as well as extending to the south to Santa Cruz. And so we're really representing the entire Bay Area. Our Facebook group has about 550 members as of today. So that is one of the other ways that we connect. So it's quite a large and involved group. And I will hand it back to Antonina.
So, oops, still on your face, but. So
the slides is the vision slide.
I do see the slides.
Okay.
I just don't see me, but that's okay. I know what I look like. So the key to our Bay Area chapter is that we're big and we're in a place that that takes a lot of action and is willing to take a stand and try new things. So our vision is really to lead California, lead and be a global model. So we don't shy from taking experiments, and we also encourage our members to find your best fit. Bring your skills, bring your energy, bring your vision, and we want to hear about it. We want to encourage you to meet people in the chapter. We want to encourage you to participate in our teams, create new ones if we're not doing something that you think is important, and be in contact with us, reach out. I actually think I found that the chapter virtually is a place where I have met so many more people and have so many more opportunities. So please don't hesitate, reach out to Deborah and to me and to the rest of the leaders, the chapter leaders who you will meet shortly.
And a lot of you are also members of other organizations, and we're excited to have people from a wide range of organizations. A few that I've met so far are involved with everything from Citizens Climate Lobby through to Sunrise Movement, through to Sierra Club. There's no kind of competition. All of the organizations here are excited to have people excited about taking action on the climate. And there are many times when we actually work with some of the other organizations. For example, we did a really great event with Sierra Club this year. So we welcome you to not only bring yourself and your interests and your get up and go, but to also bring your own connections and see where there's ways that we can, you know, work together and really amplify each other's voices as a climate movement. One small thing about what we're not, as a 501c3, we are not a political organization, which means we cannot support any specific candidates, nor can we encourage people to vote for climate candidates, because for some reason that's seen as partisan. And so we can encourage people to get out the vote, but we cannot ask people to vote for climate candidates or any specific candidates. So just be super aware of that restriction, because that's kind of where a line between our organization and some others out there falls. And I know, Antonina, I jumped the gun and looked at the agenda before you did, but I just saw that you were going to introduce that, but I think the next person we're handing off to is Wei Tai.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Deborah, and hello, everybody. Just for fun, can we all just wave at each other? And I'm going to do a print screen and see, we've got 86 people on the call. Thank you for humoring me, and it's nice to see all of you. As Deborah and Antonina said, my name's Wei Tai Kwok. I live out in Lafayette, and I got trained as a climate reality leader in Chicago back in 2013, exactly 7 years ago. So welcome to all of you who are like literally 7 years later. I had a lot of memories of doing this. And one thing I'll share with you that's relevant to tonight as you join our chapter is that when I got back in August of 2013 to the Bay Area, there was no such thing as chapters. There was no such thing as Reality Hub. So after 3 days of training, or in your case, 9 days of training, I got back all excited, and I found myself to be all alone. And there were no way to get in touch with anybody else, believe it or not. And so I sort of appealed a few years later to the headquarters, said, hey, can we start gathering and getting people together? And headquarters was very amenable to saying, sure, why don't you guys try it there in San Francisco? You have a pretty big critical mass. And so we started getting together as local climate leaders every other month, starting 2015. And after a couple of years, the headquarters said, hey, this is looking like it's a good thing to do. And by 2017, we formally started having chapters to now having over 150 chapters across the United States. And so I'm really delighted and that we've grown as an organization. I'm going to just share with you one overview slide and then 4 specific things that are new since 2013 when I trained that I think will help you guys on board a lot easier and make friends faster and make more impact. But the slide on the screen right now really setting out our vision, I think states it real well to say that we think we here in California have a special opportunity, maybe a special duty, and sort of an outsized impact on the climate crisis, because what we can do here in Northern California and affecting California, we can set an example for our country and the rest of the world to make change. And so that's an exciting thing that not every region of the world can claim. And so I think that energizes me and all the folks that have gathered around to say, like, our small things that we can do here are not actually that small. And so let me dive into just a couple web-based resources for you to look at as you've come out of the training. Number one, you've finished your training. It's very important for you to actually formally join our chapter here. You know, some of you came tonight because your mentor gave you the link, or some of you saw our notice on Facebook, but you might not have been on our actual chapter list. And that means you may not hear from us again unless you sign up. So the short link is the bit.ly/join-your-chapter. And I'm gonna see if Amelia could put that into the chat just out of convenience. So when you go to that bit.ly link, you'll come to this web page, fill out all your info, and then you'll search for the word San Francisco to join the San Francisco Bay Area chapter, because you'd have to scroll through 150 other organizations. But by joining us, some of the benefits are you'll get our monthly newsletter, you'll get action alerts, you'll get invites to the special events and our networking and so forth. So please do that if you haven't yet seen this page before. that would really help us get over Deborah's, the 16 people, right, that we need to get over 1,000. Okay, the second website that's important is our own chapter's website, which is climaterealitybayarea.org. It's really easy to remember. And I'm not going to take you through the whole site, so I'm just going to point out two things that I think are important. There's a blog button in the upper right-hand corner, but the events button is really key. Our team does a really nice job to post what events are upcoming to go look at and to sign up for. And then secondly, the one next to it is Take Action. And under that tab, if you click on it, you'll find something called the Bay Area Member Interest Form, which is a little bit of an opportunity for you to tell us what you're interested in, so we can hook you up with other people who are interested in the same thing. You know, if you're interested in regenerative agriculture and somebody else is, or if somebody likes, you know, oceans, and we know sort of how to match people up with their interests. So if you could all look for those two things when we finish the meeting, that'd be awesome. One of the third ways that we get together as a chapter is through our Facebook page. For those of you who do Facebook, please look and search for the word Climate Reality Bay Area. And it's a private group, so the administrators will admit you. But once you're in the group, some of the things that I love seeing and that we really encourage and welcome, you know, Leo Maselli on the left there just did the training, and he blogged it, or he made a couple statements about his feelings about the training. So we always want to know about you, yourself, your climate journey. This is a lot about you and us as climate leaders. In the middle there, Mandolin Ludlum was one of the new trainees also. Thank you for posting an event that you found important. And I want to say it's important, we don't want to just see events. We want to see events that you think are important and why you think it's important, right? Don't just post and run. It's more about posting and learning about you and why you posted. So thanks, Mandolin, for that. And finally, on the right, Bill Murphy is a very regular poster on legislation that's going on in California and why he thinks certain ones are important and what we could do about it. Okay, so we don't want just posts. We want value-added posts with either personal stories or your interpretations. And that's our Facebook page. The last one I'm going to go over is the Reality Hub. So for those of you that got trained and have gotten your access into Reality Hub, I ask you to do two things. Number one is to update your bio so that we can get to know each other better, right? Once you put your bio in there and the things you like and do, we can learn about each other. And in this case, I'm showing you Deborah's bio because she did such a nice job there. And the way you do it is go into the upper right-hand corner on that triangle, pick my account. And then when you click in there, you'll be able to update your profile in your biography and all that. And that's important. Somebody asked me the other day, has anybody else in your chapter doing insurance, climate insurance? And I said, well, just go search on that term, and anybody whose bio had climate insurance, you can get a hit. Sure enough, she got like 40 or 50 people to go contact about that niche category. So that's some of the benefits that people, not just in our Bay Area, but over the world, can find and connect with you. But you have to fill out your bio, and a lot of people forget to do that. So just a reminder. The other thing that we'd love to have you do is to start recording your 10 acts of leadership that you know, we're all obligated to do those. And the great news is tonight counts as one of them. And so you'd simply go to the lead and the new act of leadership, and under meet other climate reality leaders, what you're doing tonight, you can fill out today's date and what you did, and you can get get one of your AOLs for that. Okay, and AOLs acts of leadership are very important. Some people are so modest, they say, I don't want to take credit, I don't need credit. But the answer, I always put mine in because it's the Climate Reality Project that gets credit. When they need to go out and get their funders to donate money to give all this free training to us. And the donors say, well, we just trained 6,000 people. What was the result? And if there was no acts of leadership, compared to if there were 10 acts of leadership, there'd be 60,000 results instead of 0. So I think that's why I do it. And I hope you will, persistently record your acts as well. So with that, let me pitch it back to, we're going to introduce the chapter chairs of all the committees. And Deborah, do you want me just to call on, in order, how are we going to do this? Go ahead.
So we normally would go in order. However, I know Alma has something early. So, and we'll need to jump. So how about we jump to climate justice, the co-chairs of the climate justice group, and then we'll circle back to the top of the list.
So my name is Alma Sungi Peksungi. 안녕하세요. I am Korean American, and I live in Ramaytush Ohlone territory, which is also known as San Francisco. I had the privilege of being in Taryn's mentee group at the Atlanta 2019 training, which is when I met her and got involved in climate reality and in the chapter. We have a number of, if you're interested in climate justice, we want your involvement. We have monthly meetings, and I believe we're going to be meeting the last Wednesday of every month at 6 o'clock. Our next one is going to be August 26th. We also have two programs that Deborah and Antonina are going to go over at the very end of this orientation, but one is actually next Tuesday. And I just want to give a shout out to Sabrina Hall from Green Action, who's actually here on this call and recently graduated from the virtual training. So I'm so pleased that you're interested in the chapter, that you had a good experience at the training, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you over the next few months. Taryn.
So much, all righty. Well, first of all, congratulations on your matriculation to being a climate reality leader. I hope that you are excited about being a graduate of this historic first climate reality global activist training. I wanted to emphasize the importance that I stand first and foremost on Ohlone land. I always like to acknowledge the land acknowledgement. I live in Oakland, California. I'm a native of Oakland, California. And just briefly, I wanted to just share with you why I came to the Climate Reality Project and have served as a climate reality leader and mentor. I'm African American, Black Lives Matter. And I was intrigued and had an aha moment about climate change and how it affects the urban core when I first saw the Truth and 10 in 2006. It then made a trigger in making me understand fully about Hurricane Katrina. And we all know in 2005 that African Americans were displaced. Our wealth was diminished significantly. And from that, I realized that, hey, climate change is real. And coming from the urban core, Oakland, California, I knew that I had to come back and I had to educate marginalized communities, in particular African Americans, because what happened there could easily happen here in Oakland, California. But secondly, I wanted to say too that I have a farm. I have a interest in a historic farm in Crockett, Texas. Yes, named after David Crockett. But in this small little rural community of 6,000 people, they're better prepared for a natural disaster than here in the urban core. So that was also an aha moment as well. Climate justice, environmental justice is very important. We can't have no racial justice without climate justice. That is what our CEO and our founder, former United States Vice President Al Gore, articulates, believes in, and gives me the strength in knowing that my work is really important. So with that, I welcome you. Alma and I, we were the first actually to be a part of the climate justice, climate reality leadership training program in Atlanta, Georgia. So we were exposed to some of the greatest minds on this subject. I thought it was most imperative and very important to bring it back to the Bay Area, to the chapter of which Wei Tai and Steve Richard founded. And the establishment of the leadership that you see before you tonight, I thought of a climate justice position. Alma and I both share this position, and we look forward to having those of you who are interested coming and joining us on a platform that we have just this year because of COVID-19 created, where we are bringing in and focusing on the collaboration, the coalition, and the intersection of marginalized communities and environmental organizations that are out there doing the work, bringing it to our platform so that you're able to see their work and what they're doing and understand the significance and importance of that. We hope that you will join us. We created this space. I specifically needed this space because we're out there. I'm out there as a person of color, and we're in a group of some of the most fabulous people in the world. And we need that interconnection. And so we need you, and we look forward to having you being a part of our group. Thank you so much.
So as we introduced ourselves to you at the beginning, Deborah and I are the chapter co-chairs. And I want to say first off that all the chairs that you'll meet tonight are elected. We all are, the chapter has an election every year. So we encourage you, if you're interested, to step up and become an elected chair and have the members support you. So as co-chairs, Deborah and I really help support the work of all the chairs and the chapters. We kind of are coaches. We encourage new initiatives. We help connect. One of the main functions we have is we connect our chapter with the national chapter, and also newly this year we also connect with the other chapters in California. So with that, let's move on to Andy McClure and Barry Giles, the business engagement co-chairs.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Andy McClure. And actually, if you want to advance, I had one slide I put in there to help. Okay, there you go. So I also trained in Atlanta in 2019. As you learned in your training, businesses are responsible for a significant portion of greenhouse gas emissions, and we need them to move faster to reduce their contribution. So if you work within a business that you'd like to influence around climate action, or are interested in focusing your education efforts on business audiences, then tuning into what we're up to in business engagement may be useful for you. In your training, you may have heard about the Climate Business Working Group. That's the effort that's happening at a national scale to influence small businesses. And that's primarily what our chapter efforts support, what they have initiated. And I put up a graphic there. If you go to the Reality Hub, there's an existing group you may want to join. There are presentation slides there that are tailored to business audiences, other files and resources. There's a discussion forum. So I encourage you to check that out in addition to what we're doing at the chapter level. In the Bay Area, we've embraced an expansive view of business engagement beyond just delivering the presentation to business audiences. So we've really developed more of a menu of ideas for inspiring action among businesses. So like Wei Tai pointed out, please be sure to complete that interest form. Let us know if you're interested in business engagement, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Sandy. As temporary communication chair, the communications group is one that handles a number of different things: the social media outreach, the newsletter, website updates, and we work very closely with the next group, the events and programming chair, Amelia. And so a lot of our communications is around that. The post is currently open, and we are talking about, I chatted to a couple of people who are interested. So do put up your hand on that form if you're also interested in getting involved, and I will hand the baton to Amelia.
Thanks, Deborah. Hi, everyone. I'm Amelia. I'm the Events and Programming Chair. I basically work with all the other chairs to coordinate, program, and put on chapter events. And, you know, as you can tell, in the time of COVID, those are all on Zoom. So it involves a lot of Zoom logistics. You can do lots of things on Zoom that I learned. Waiting rooms, breakout rooms, polls, chat room. So I just basically help run all the events on Zoom, manage the recordings, or try to upload them to our YouTube channel. We also put them on our chapter events page and sort of serves as a repository for past events. So definitely check that out as you're perusing around our chapter webpage. We have a few different chapter events we've been putting on this year. So we have the Climate Virtual Reality series. It's sort of a webinar series we started doing early in 2020 when we're avoiding in-person meetups. We've had some really cool speakers, Jonathan Foley from Project Drawdown, Bill Wheel of Climate Voice, Martha Campbell of Rocky Mountain Institute, planetary ethicist Tim Rummage. Those are all also on the chapter events page, and our YouTube channel, so you can check out those videos. We also have a salon series, which is a learning and discussion of issues. There are short talks given by a guest speaker, or it could be a chapter member. And then we usually have an open and interactive discussion about what we just talked about. And so this series is open to all topics. We cover all kinds of topics. Lately, we've been doing a lot of climate justice because it feels really relevant right now. And it's always relevant. And you know, other topics in the past have been regenerative agriculture, low carbon diets, really anything that you're interested in. This series is open to all chapter members to curate and host, and I'll work with you to put it on. So it's not just the chairs, it's not just me, it's anybody who wants to come forward and kind of bring a topic to the chapter. We've had all kinds of guest speakers in the past. We've had authors, founders and CEOs, local grassroots activists. It's been a really fun time putting those together, and they're pretty easy to do right now with all the Zoom technology and availability. We also have education. We do workshops, how-tos, boot camps, and then we have our regular chapter business meetings. So just, you know, a chapter meeting, leadership meetings, group meetings, etc. And other things I do is manage the chapter events page, which you'll see on our chapter website. I do event promotion, again, try to. And yeah, so I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm definitely looking for some help, a couple co-chairs, maybe a full team. So if you're interested in helping with chapter events, it's been pretty fun. You get to work with all the chairs. Definitely let me know. So I will pass it off now. I think it's Mary Ruth next.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Mary Ruth Gross. I'm the membership chair, which is a chair that got created this year in this election. You may recognize my name. I'm the one that keeps track of the database, our membership list, and sends out the initial email to make sure, I do this weekly, to make sure that you know that you're a member in the local chapter. Other than that, I play a support role for some of the other chairs, especially the climate justice chair, you know, in terms of member outreach. In terms of the future, I would love, if anyone has any interest at all, I'm a retired union organizer, so if anybody has any interest at all in helping to contact, get more personal, and not just by email with new members, and helping to onboard, and just, if you're a people person, you could get in at the ground floor, because right now I'm a committee of one, and I would welcome help with that process. And I think that there's a lot that we can do to stay connected, especially in these difficult times. Thank you.
I think it's my turn. I'll introduce myself. I'm Gary White. I know a number of people who've recently been trained, but not everyone, and I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of you. I'll keep it brief. You guys are joining this organization and getting active in the climate movement at an absolutely pivotal time in the movement and in history. As the IPCC of the UN has indicated, we have less than 10 years right now to reduce greenhouse gases by about 50% to even have a chance at hitting 1.5 degrees centigrade as a base. So we've got a lot of work to do. I was trained in Toronto in 2015 as a climate reality leader. I'm responsible for basically all things presenting. I'm also a founder of Extinction Rebellion San Mateo. And if that's something that's of interest to any of you who live in the San Mateo area, let me know. And I'm also a member of our local San Mateo Rotary Club Climate Change Committee. And so I'm fairly busy. And I'll just leave you with a quote, which is hopefully more of an inspiration than a downer. But a journalist who writes for the New Yorker and who's also written a book called Uninhabitable Earth, David Wallace Wells, starts his book by saying, whatever you've heard about the climate crisis, the reality is much, much worse. Keep that in mind. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Gary. We'll hand over briefly to Matt, but I know you're going to circle back and talk about the policy action groups. So actually, let's flip the order. Steve, and then Antonina, and then we'll go back to you, Matt, and go seamlessly into the policy groups.
Yes, Steve Richard is not available to join tonight, so.
So in one sentence, the treasurer handles money.
So who's next?
So I'm next. I think perhaps as people have seen on the slide that was up a few minutes ago, that the position of youth engagement is currently vacant. We had a chapter leader who had to step back for the rest of the year, which means we need to get a new youth engagement chair, and I would say a youth engagement team. It's such an important thing, and we know that there are a lot of young people in the chapter, and we would love to have anyone step up who is interested in this, but especially encourage young people. You, in the climate movement and everything, you are never too young to lead. We learn so much from you, and anybody who wants to contact us to be part of this, please do, and we'll help you build a team. But we have, a large constituent of young people, and we really want to support them to take action at many levels, in many ways, and the sky's the limit.
Fantastic. So we are going to now hand over to Matt to talk about both the policy group plus regional groups, and we're actually going to move a little bit to the second half, because in about 3 minutes a whole bunch of other people will be joining. So let's hand over to you, and then we'll move into the second half.
Matt, you're on mute. We cannot hear you, so unmute yourself.
Okay, thought I was on the phone there. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, so congratulations everyone for being in the chapter. Like Wei Tai said, please sign up to be officially in the chapter. We have a lot of great things going on. I went through the training in 2018 in Los Angeles. My background is in law and policy at the California EPA and then at the US EPA. And after I went through the training, talking to a lot of the talented people from the Bay Area, wanting to have direct impact to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions in our region, to set an example, we decided to form a subgroup within the chapter, right? You went through this great training with Mr. Gore about the scope of the challenges and opportunities, and we have a whole great group of people doing presentations. Well, we also have this policy action group. We put together a policy action leadership team, and we are exercising our muscles of participatory democracy. And Wei Tai, you can go to the next slide there. So we're focused on, of course, the big stuff that you learned about in the training by going to our local governing bodies and demanding more aggressive GHG reductions, adopting policies that more aggressively reduce GHG emissions. And so we've been doing this for about 18 months, and we've been having some great success. And we want you to seriously look at this activity. If you go to the next slide, basically this is what it's about. It's about getting together with what we call squads in different counties and targeting a local governing body. So say like a school board or a city council or board of supervisors, and choosing to target one particular important greenhouse gas reduction policy and demanding that they be more aggressive and adopt a more aggressive policy, and doing that by a date certain, right? They're working for us, right? What I learned, I did a lot of top-down policy in my work at the state and the national level, and that's insufficient. We need a bottom-up movement, and we can have clear agency by doing it at the local governing bodies where we are. And so it's been exciting to see these squads form. And if you want to participate, you just go to our website and see what county you're in, and you click that button, and that'll send an email to our policy action squad leaders so that you can get engaged. We have had a variety of policy petitions brought, and remember, these governing bodies, they'll have whatever 3 or 5 or 7 members. We only need to persuade a couple of them to make the difference to get these more aggressive GHG reducing policies adopted. So if there isn't a squad in your area, you can form one. You can have multiple petitions in one squad. So there's no one way to do it. We encourage you to get active. There was a picture there of one of our climate leaders, Pleasant Hill, just going to their governing body there and persuaded them at the City Council of Pleasant Hill to adopt clean energy there in that jurisdiction. So it's an exciting way to manifest your participation in the chapter. So join an action team, and again, congratulations.
Fantastic. Great. We are in the process of just moving on to kind of the more general session. But before we head there, Gary, would you like to talk a little about the presentation slides, the different sort of resources for presentations?
Yeah, you want to call that up? Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about what the presentation group does. Some of you might already know a few of these, but the new people probably aren't aware. Wei Tai and Steve and I, a number of years ago, started something called Boot Camp. And this is a follow-up to the climate reality training that you all went through. And we typically hold it in person a month or so after the training on a Sunday afternoon. Often we go to San Francisco to St. Ignatius. We have access there through one of our climate reality leaders who used to work there, Michael Thomas. And now because of the pandemic, we're going to be moving it online. And so we've got a session coming up just over a month from now, September 20th from 3 to 5:30. So look for the email invitation soon. We're delaying a little bit because we want to have the second online global training happen, which is going to happen at the very end of this month. So we can have really a critical mass from both trainings to be able to attend. And I hope you can attend. The other thing that we do, we did this last year called 24 Hours of Reality. This is something that former Vice President Gore has been doing for years, where he would conduct basically an online program over 24 hours, going all the way around the world to different time zones and checking in with climate reality leaders and supporters to find out what's going on. Last year, Mr. Gore handed that to all of the chapters to provide climate presentations to as many groups in their geography as possible. And so we organized that. We had about 110 presentations from numerous people, experienced presenters, and very, very new presenters who partnered up with more experienced presenters. And we're going to do that again probably in October over 2 successive days. The other thing that I want to offer to everyone is that we provide presentation coaching. So if there's ever any assistance that anyone needs to help pull your personalized slide deck together or help prepare to give your presentation with coaching online, please let me know and we'll make sure that you get that support. And then lastly, we also provide presentation partnerships where you can team up with an experienced presenter in order to help give your presentation either in person or now online. So when you first dip your toes into the water of presenting for climate reality, don't feel that you've got to do this on your own. It could be very, very unnerving, and you can partner up with anybody on our team. So just let me know about that. And those are just some of the things that we're doing.